Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel Anaka Design. For those of you who may be wondering what I've been up to, since clearly harvest has been a nightmare, I will give you a quick update on that. I am taping this on October 23rd. We have finished, amen, combining whatever could be done. The insurance adjuster has given his blessings to disc down or bale a last piece of oats. A neighbor is going to be cutting it and baling it for his cattle. So that will finally put an end to this horrendous year of trying to get these crops off. And of course, that's not entirely true. The issue still is to keep the grain that was combined, that wasn't perfectly dry, to bring the moisture content down so that it doesn't spoil in the bins. Anyway, so that is that. Now, you may, you can see this pile of blush journals and know that I have been working on these for months. I think the last thing I showed you was this one. And the reason I kind of picked this up again, number one, it's been going on way too long, and I want to be able to finally pack up, put away the surplus supplies, and I'm also trying to meet a deadline that Mo has gently, very gently imposed on me. Now, I don't know. Oh, see, I used a glue gun for the first time. That's the worst thing about glue guns. You end up with glue strings. Now, this is not a flip through, although I think most of these are complete. But I just wanted to make the point with you that if you think that you have a lot of stuff pre-made, a lot of supplies, a lot of ideas, and what was going to be one blush journal turned into 4, and you still have a lot of stuff, what's a woman to do? Well, contrary to logic, you start a 5th blush journal. Yay! And that is where this stands. Now, again, I've said this is not a flip through because that, you need to do proper justice and so on. But I will let you see what I've done to this one. And I don't know that if you've seen this one lately. So that's just a real teaser. I'm going to get these out of the way. I'm going to show, I think I better take them a little further. Sorry, guys. That biggest one that I showed you is 5 signatures in thickness. So I, just another little update. Those of you who have been with me a while know that I typically in October go to our timeshare in Canmore. And of course, with the way things were going, I had to delay my departure by a week. So I'm just trying to get a few more videos done before I go. Anyway, and I don't know what really started me on that path, but all of a sudden, I guess, I came to my senses and realized Christmas is around the corner. And so I started going through Christmas things, books, pre-made ephemera, fabric, like you name it. And there was so much. However, I was pleasantly surprised that there was one that I worked on last year. Well, a couple that I worked on last year. And I had put it in a bag with the Post-it on it saying, completed, question mark. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, I think this one is completed. But then there was another one that was not. So that's what I was working on yesterday. And I am getting to my point. Because I wanted to do this video today, I had to do one of those quick cleanups. You know, like when company is coming up the sidewalk and your vacuum cleaner is still hot. It's sort of one of those kind of moments. So I had this red cloth here, and I thought, I'm just going to scoop everything, all this small stuff that was on my desk, scoop it into here. And you know what it made me think of? Those quintessential little boys that run away from home with a knapsack. The only thing I'm missing here is a little stick to put over my shoulder. I know, a feeble attempt at humor. Anyway, this, I will be doing a video, who knows, maybe the next one, on what I've done or the progress I'm making on this journal that is sort of incomplete or had just basically been started. Now this was this is obviously the 5th blush journal, a red covered Irma Bombeck book. These inside papers are from scented drawer liners, and they still have a bit of scent. I'm going to do a hidden spine, so I have this ready. I just haven't done my holes yet, but it'll be 3 signatures. And quite an extravaganza on the cover, so I'll just put that aside. Well, no, maybe I'll keep it here for 1 second. I do want to show you that I have a number of pages done, and the thing is, you know, a person keeps learning and evolving and trying new ways of doing things and dropping ideas maybe that aren't working as well. So I think most of you know that at some time or other I have, you know, selected pages and then ended up having to trim a bunch of them because they weren't, you know, they ended up getting pushed out. You know what I mean. Anyway, and I don't like, even though that's how those blush journals turned out, I don't like the super stuffed ones either. Now these pages are not in signature format, like they're not, you know, nested into each other, but just without them being sewn in, like, and not a heck of a lot. I mean, there are a few thicker pieces in here, but it's kind of almost too big already. So that is the challenge that I find myself with. So let me show you kind of what I've been doing. Now, some of these items you may have seen in other blush videos, but I also made an effort to try to use some things I haven't used before. And also, I thought I want to bling this one up a bit more, make it more luscious, more boho-ish. And really, this color is not necessarily what a person would automatically think of when you think of the word boho, but I think it's doable. Do I have, or is that, oh, that might be in the bedroom. Still waiting for some, oh no, there it is. And I've shown you this before. This was a snippet roll that I started working on ages ago, and you can see that it's long enough to do 2+. I think I still have a needle stuck in here somewhere. Yeah, a couple needles. Because I thought, oh, I need to add more. Well, I am bound and determined, despite the fact that this has obviously cost a lot in terms of time and effort, I am determined to use some of these kinds of things. I also have other trims within reach here that maybe you'll be able to see. So without having any sort of an order to this just yet, I will show you what I've done. So this is wallpaper. This is wallpaper. So the inside, of course, had some labeling on it as to what. I see I need to trim there. So I just added some images there because I thought that was better than the white. This is a lovely wallpaper as well. It's ombre. And I did the same sort of thing here. Just a collage to introduce some colors and cover up the we don't need to know what the name of the wallpaper is. And then this one, using images from a Page a Day inspirational calendar. So I thought that one turned out really well. And I think that this would be good enough to write on. So there's that. Some of these pages probably, I've added a few little things to the pages, which you'll see. I've had this stationery probably for decades. You've seen this paper before, and I added this fussy cut off that rose poster rose wall calendar that I found not so long ago. And I thought, okay, I am not keeping, again, where is, you can't imagine the chaos, or maybe you can, I don't know, maybe you work in the same sort of settings. I still have a few feet of this stuff left, and I'm bound and determined to use it. So I just added that in 4 places. This is a lovely, I love these kinds of designs, piece of double-sided cardstock, and I just folded it that way so far. This came off a package. So this was the sort of the paper wrapper around a scrapbook. And because these colors were pretty good, I just reinforced, because of course you can see the paper is pretty flimsy. I reinforced the seams with washi tape. This, I had threaded some yarn through there that matched. I prepared a doily, and again, very fragile. It's too bad I couldn't have laid that washi tape down more straightly, but is that the right word? Straighter. I did reinforce the seam inside and out with washi tape because, of course, that will be subject to the most stress when the sewing of the signatures is done. Oh, this is a cute little envelope, and I just did little collage-y elements on each side. This was some nice scrapbooking paper. Well, I mean, how nice? It's pretty plain. So I added lace and picot satin ribbon on this side, and sewed them. And of course, this will be signature and open at the top. I've had these decorative, very fancy, very beautiful borders for a long time, and I thought, okay, use it, don't store it. Now these were, I think this might have been the end papers from a book, and there was, I guess the librarian probably had stamped a date on there. So I zigzagged that, it'll be 2 pockets. Love this paper. This was something that, I know what it was. Okay, I tea dyed some pink paper ages and ages ago. And then I had these beautiful little pieces off a border from, one of those date book type things. So I just glued that around the perimeter. That's just a greeting card. This is another piece of paper that I really love and have kind of been hoarding, but it's high time. And I may leave this pocket as deep as you see it here, because sometimes that is good. I'm not sure where this came from. Must have been one of those thrifted things. And you'll notice that on some of these I've rounded the corners, because sometimes if I don't think of it soon enough and have attached something like a cluster, then I can't get my punch in close enough to do it. So that is kind of something good to remember. And you'll notice that these pages are not at all the same width. And that's just to shake things up a bit. And of course, as I said, they're not nested in any way. There's two, well, this side, lovely piece of paper. And this was some thrifted ribbon I found. I thought, well, isn't that great? And it's wired. I left the wire in, sewed this side down, and stitched through it as a belly band, and this as a little pocket. This was off I have so many pieces of this. I'm thinking it must have been a tablecloth. This is also wallpaper, but off the roll, so it doesn't have the imprinting. And I just used, sewed around this fabric piece to make, two pockets. Now, this, because it's attracted this way, this might end up being the center of a signature, but we don't know. And of course, I see, I turned under about an inch, an inch and a half, say, of the fabric itself. That automatically gave that a little more body. And then I glued down that lace, which helps give it a little more oomph. And then this, another piece of wallpaper. This was the back, I believe. The back of a little girl's dress. So the little trim was on it, somewhere here. Oh, right here. I also saved the little, how was this put together? I don't even remember how this was put together. Obviously, this was the part of the bodice. So this was probably part of the skirt. So I just cut this off where I did. God, isn't that a clever and clear explanation? And I thought, isn't it cute if I leave these buttons, actually, buttons and buttonholes, workable? So, I mean, I suppose I could, maybe pin that one back up and then glue this down. But I thought it might be kind of nice if whoever buys this ends up, can decide what to do with that. So I was pretty happy with that. And I just stuck some paper in there. So, and to give this thing some body, I put it on a piece of cardstock. So I don't know, how, this isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. I had my flu shot a week or so ago, and they didn't have the COVID vaccine yet, so I had to wait for that. And I had got my COVID vaccine on Monday, and today's Wednesday. Yesterday was feeling pretty achy. I can't do this. Anyway, pretend that that's buttoned up. There are these little papers in here to write on. This will probably end up being glued down to a page and becoming this pocket and a pocket behind there. Yeah, anyway, so kind of really achy, but I figure it's better than having COVID. This was off a starched doily, and it's pretty faded from age and so on, but I thought it worked well here. This was something that I must have made months ago. It's intended as a, over the page flip, but it could just as easily be in a big pocket like this. So on the back, there's also a pocket to tuck in some stuff. Um, oh, and inside I've added these little girl from, kids' books tags. And you will notice, the observant among you will notice that these little tabs actually match this little dress. Those, I don't know if those were straps or what the heck it was. And then I just used some punch outs from some kind of a kit intended, a scrapbooking kit, I guess, intended for a young girl, because there were a lot of princess stickers, let's just put it that way, or punch outs, I mean. But as far as the rest of it goes, the color is really good. So, I didn't do anything on the back. But then, of course, I switched horses in midstream and started working on Christmas. I have a few other things to show. That's just a reminder to use that. I have some snippets. I have an idea for this, but I can't quite remember what it was. I think it must have been Kim that gave me this, which has obviously been salvaged from something. So I turned it into, a snippet, which I thought is pretty cool because it, of course, has paisleys, and we know how I feel about paisleys. Okay, maybe that's all I have to show you over here. Other than, I've got things like this that I want to use, and this, and this. I don't think I said it, but I will point out that I do have a number of boho kits. In other words, sequined motifs, sheer fabrics, embroidered fabrics, all the kinds of things that you think of when you think boho, listed by colorway in my shop on the Maker's Market. I don't know, maybe I'll be putting some on Etsy as well. I mean, it would be more of the same, but just another marketplace. So there's that. I've shown you this. Now, I had made, this was a super large matchbook. And I'm thinking, well, that's too wide for anything. What was I thinking when I did that? It was probably packaging that Anyway, so I ended up taking it apart, cutting it in half, centering these pages because, of course, they were lopsided once I cut the edges off. So I have two of these matchbook things to put it somewhere. Here's more of that dress. This was another button thing, and I ended up just cutting it. Like, it was so bulky because, as you know, when you've turned something over and made it into a placket, like for buttonhole, it really gets to be thick, and I can't really afford that. Now, some of these things need a little touch up with the iron. Some boho type fabrics worked in here. This one especially needs some ironing, or at least steaming. This is from a little girl's dress. This is from a wedding gown. So I wanted to begin using some of these lovely things that I have, because I think maybe people aren't quite sure what to do. So here's more of this, and gorgeous. This is the same as this. This is another piece of embroidered stuff. And this, believe it or not, is one of those, what were we calling them? Cocoon type things. It's very sheer. And this is mine. I don't know that I ever wore it, but you can see why I would have bought it. You understand that. Anyway, these things and I do have others in other colors. When I see people wearing them, and usually they're, pretty stylish people, and they're either wearing them, casual, and they could be long, like they could be sort of knee length or longer, over jeans and a t-shirt or whatever. I'm thinking, oh, that is such a cool look. However, by the time I would be wearing something like this, it's too damn hot. This stuff does not breathe, so it may look good, but honestly, I'm also at that point where I want some comfort. Here's another one that I did using a little mini doily. Again, more trims that are just gorgeous in themselves. And you can see that each one has its own character. Like these two are kind of polar opposites in terms of vibrancy and neutrality. But the point is that they will still work in these projects. And then this one is using some fancy dancy trim, lace, ribbon. And I think Kim might have sent me this remnant too, because I don't remember getting it anywhere else. Now, I do have a number of other pages. However, am I going to be doing journal number 6? If I were to try to squeeze all this in that book, then like game over. I don't really care for this side, but I love this. It's a very fine little check. And I left it the way it is, width-wise, because I don't know yet what's happening. This is somebody's digital. I don't know if that would be Rachel from Roxy Creations. This is out of a floral arranging book. This was one of those pages out of a Stampington magazine. These are just some like copy paper in different tones, because I do have a lot of colored paper. That's note paper of some kind. Dyed paper, gingham paper. This was 8.5 by 11. I put some pink bias tape around the edges. Oh, and okay, these two things are going to end up as pockets. This was just some little trim from some kind of a linen thing. I added lace, and we know that sometimes lace is kind of flimsy. So what I did was back this probably on this color of paper, just to give it a little more stability and make it easier to kind of dip things in and out. And then I just made the bottom of this pocket as I followed the shape of the lace. Oh, I should be putting in a plug for Pick a Pocket. For a while there, we had a flurry of activity. There were some people that, and I meant to acknowledge those people. Oh, and one other thing I have to do before this video is over. So this was just, some of that same paper that I liked. I used this punch. I think I used the punch out somewhere else, and I thought, well, okay, this will be more obvious if I back it with something. So there's that. This same sort of thing, I just cut a 6 by 6 in half, I guess. And I had made these lace master boards probably 2 years ago. So I turned that into a belly band. This was a ruffle that I used. This is, I took apart a coil-bound book that the paper is very beautiful, but of course it's also kind of a size that's neither here nor there. So I don't know if this would have to be hinged or what exactly I will be doing there, but I knew the colors were perfect. So, and I may have shown you this before. If I've done that, forgive me. So this lace, this pink lace, is actually that wide, enough to go around the whole thing. I added some ombre pink ribbon, another piece of salvaged lace, and a fussy cut. And then on this side, just tucked in some kind of matching pieces of paper. I don't know about this, not the greatest paper in the world, but I could make it work, I guess. This is a digital, this is a freebie, I think, from somebody. And then these two beautiful pieces of paper are cardstock, which, as you know, adds a whole bunch of bulk. So I don't know what's going to happen with all of this stuff. But you can see that a person needs so much space just to store all these things and keep them sort of at your fingertips. Oh, and I will show you this one last thing before I show you a bit of Happy Mail. So this was, oh, and I organized, because, you know, I have this habit of just putting any bit of packaging that isn't too ratched up, I just tuck. And then, of course, it becomes a dog's breakfast. So one day I went through it and I thought, okay, this is creased, this is bent, this is way too heavy, this is gross. So I threw all those things out, and then I sorted the others by, oh, and I trimmed things down, and I sort of grouped them, and I got them a little more contained. One of the things that was there was this packaging that had this hole pre-cut. So I just used some of the scraps of paper that I had around, drawer liner, gift wrap, 6x6, vintage gift wrap, and did a wee bit of decorating. And then I used this piece of vellum. Now, this will probably just be glued down to a page and then something tucked in there. So, kids, that's where that stands. Now, I've said, well, maybe while I'm talking, I should be doing this too. You'll remember that, let's see, was that earlier this year? Yeah, I think earlier this year. Kim had started that Happy Mail movement thing, and many of my buddies, Happy Snail Mail, took part, and people I didn't know took part, and then there was a lull and so on. Anyway, one of the people who kept talking about sending me something was Gigi from Palm Springs. Now, if you've ever been to Palm Springs, you know that it is a series of communities all butted up against each other. Other than seeing a sign, you don't know where one ends and the other one begins, because they've all mashed together. I will always have fond memories of Palm Springs, because when my oldest grandson was just a toddler, we the kids rented or went through that, is it Verbo? And got rented a mid-century modern, whatchamacallit, house that slept, how many of us were there? 6 or 8. And it was great because there was a swimming pool in the backyard, there was a kitchen, so obviously some of the meals were done. Oh, a swimming pool and a hot tub. No, what do you call those things? Anyway, you know, the real thing. And I think at that time, I'm just opening this all the way to see if there's something more inside that I should be aware of. Anyway, Gigi has been talking about sending this for the longest time. Then the other day I hope I'm not mutilating something here. Oh, this is how she closed it. So she's got stuff glued all over it, stamps, and a pretty lady. Anyway, I noticed on, oh, geez, I noticed on her, on here, that that she's actually in Palm Desert. And of course, in some of the comments we've shared back and forth, you know, I like to delude myself into thinking that, oh, someday we'll be in Palm Springs again. Wouldn't it be nice to look her up? Okay, so she just used a magazine to, hey, is there a subliminal message here about pro-aging? The natural approach to aging gracefully. She's far too kind to do anything like that. Oh, lovely. Scabiosa, pincushion plant. Would you believe that despite the cold weather and everything that has been going on, my plant is still in full bloom? I didn't realize they were that hardy. Lovely wide piece of lace. This might end up having to go into this blush journal I was just showing you. See? And somebody who is interested in water and this aquatic life, these are hugs and love to you. Thank you. And of course, mauve, some scrapbooking paper. This is part of one of those library things. Oh, you know what? I think that these little Christmas things, I love that little card. It's probably one of those things where you get it on a sheet and then just cut them apart. Cool. I'll have to make sure these guys get into the one of those Christmas journals. A glassine envelope. And what does this say? Can't talk, I'm crafting. That's cool. Yeah, maybe I could turn this into a choker and wear it around my neck. Thank you, Gigi. And of course, Gigi has a YouTube channel, so you should check her out. She did some, oh, I'll probably get the name wrong. It almost sounded a little bit violent because I think there was smashed in the title, but I guess there must have been a craze going around. Of course, I'm the last to know. Something about people sort of crashing through or smashing through art canvases. And she did a couple of really interesting projects with a Halloween or harvesty pumpkin theme. So that would be worthwhile checking out for sure. Anyway, thank you, Gigi. I'm glad that this arrived safely and that you put your heart into it. I'm going to let you guys go. I think that because you've seen signatures being sewn in before, I don't think I will bother you know, hauling you in for that. But I do have to reconcile how many pages I can get away with without turning this into something bizarro. And because I have kind of a little more ambitious idea for the cover, I will make it my business to do that on video. And by the way, I did go around the top of this, top and bottom, so that there would, it would look finished. Once I have my signature sewn to this card, then naturally the card gets sewn into the spine. And at that point, I will be able to decide what I'm doing here. Like, will it be a pocket? Or will it be a side, you know, like a side pocket kind of thing? I don't know yet, but anyway, guys, I just wanted to bring you up to date. I have never been so ill prepared and so far behind in terms of packing for my retreat. And that's, I think, partly why I pulled out the Christmas stuff to try to figure out, okay, I don't want to, you know, move heaven and earth for what basically amounts to 5 days, because I lose a day each way driving. So I thought, okay, I could fussy cut, I could slow stitch, I could make some bases, I could take some bases and decorate them. You know, what am I going to do? So that is partly what I'm kind of thinking about. And I think this year I will probably just be mostly slow stitching and fussy cutting. That doesn't take a great deal of equipment, and I don't know if you're at all like me, whether it's, you know, for the day, a day trip, or a holiday, or whatever. I tend to overpack. I'm trying to get better as I get older, because it's getting harder and harder to schlep those things around, even if they're on wheels. So I try to be a little smarter about what I pack, but still not totally, I still don't totally have it down to a science. So also on the agenda for while I'm away and when I get back is getting a number of more items listed. Right before the craziness began here, I had listed some items. Angela, the traveling crafter, was launching another, see, I'm not quite sure the terminology, another marketplace, maybe is the word, under the district umbrella. So Traveling Crafter Makers Market is one such entity, and I have a shop there. Another one is more the home decor, collectibles, you know, more kind of finished product, vintage or newer, the finished item rather than a supply. So I had listed a number of things, and of course have many more to do. And I also found out yesterday that I will be a guest seller on one of her Thursday live sales in November. So that I'll be talking that up, and I'll do a preview video. My day will be November 21st. So you might want to mark your calendars for that. And I thought I had one more thing to say. I don't know. Anyway, guys, it's been good talking to you. I feel like I'm a bit rusty from not having done videos for, you know, at least 2 weeks. So I appreciate your presence, your support, and your, I'd also done these, your patience, tolerance for things that are less than ideal when it comes. See, the bad thing about something like this is, does it ever stop? Are you ever done with these little hairs? Anyway, guys, it will be my intention, although I won't have any kind of a filming setup. I know that in the past, I think once or twice before when I was there, I just did some handheld camera work showing some of the projects that I made. I can't, obviously, I'm not going to be dragging, lights, camera, action kind of equipment there to be able to do any kind of a process video or anything like that. But I can surely talk to you or show you something if I do a thrift haul or whatever. So I'm going to let you go. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.